Good morning. Do you want to hear a song? Good morning, period two. Good morning, period two. It's going to be a beautiful day. Good morning, period two. Good morning, period two. It's going to be a beautiful day. The sun is shining. Not really. The sky is blue. Yeah, that's kind of true. The birds are singing good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning, period two. Good morning, period two. It's going to be a beautiful day. I sing that song to my daughter every morning, but but instead of period two, it goes good morning, my love. Good morning, my love. Oh, so I thought I'd share that with you. I sang happy birthday last period in Chinese. I don't think any of you have a birthday today. This is definitely the most like Mr. Rogers I've ever felt like. Let's see, let's check. Anybody have a birthday today? Any birthdays? Nope, no birthdays. Do you know how I know it's your birthday? On schedule. See all of you? See all your beautiful faces on schedule? I have to look at this sometimes because I don't get to see your beautiful faces on Google Classroom. So I look here, but it puts a little birthday hat on you if it's your birthday. So that's a nice feature. Good job, programmers at Scheduler. I really like that feature. Okay. Man, there's a lot of comments in the chat today. I must have really gotten your attention with that song. Let's see. I'll read a few. Going zooming back to the beginning. There's some good mornings. There's a hello, mister. How lovely. I'm cheery. I have energy. People like the song. People like the song. Yours was a few weeks ago, Amy. I'll see how I feel about that. I'll get back to you. I don't know. I think that might. Is that like unconstitutional to sing somebody happy birthday when it's not their birthday? I don't know. Maybe if it was a half birthday. Figure out when your half birthday is. I'll sing to you on your half birthday. Well, good morning. It's nice to see everybody. And let's talk about what we're going to do today. And let's get ready to talk about the headline of the day. I like this headline of the day. First period really like this headline of the day. I think you will like it just as much, if not more. So we'll do that. I will go over your project rubric with you because we haven't looked at that yet. And by this point, all of you have selected a project and done some project planning, which is nice to see everything that you're hoping to contribute and accomplish in regards to ensuring that students have access to clean, lead-free drinking water. And some of you have been sharing your own lead test results with me as well, because those are still coming in, so that's great. And then you'll have time to work on your projects. You'll have class time today, tomorrow, Friday, 3 days of class time. And then if you need more time, you'll have some time on your own, but you'll have these 3 days to ask questions and to do some project work. Okay. We're ready for the headline of the day? Here it is. Trump has discussed with his advisors pardons for his 3 eldest children and Giuliani. This is Giuliani. Look at him. You know what? It's funny. I see he's always on Saturday Night Live now. And the person who plays Rudolph Giuliani on Saturday Night Live, hilarious. I don't know her name. I'm very bad with actors and actresses, but her impression's like pretty dead on. Does anybody know anything about Rudy Giuliani? What he was first known for? Because it's important to kind of put him into context a little bit. Never heard of him? It's kind of weird. I guess he's before your time. He is Trump's lawyer now. He's Trump's like personal lawyer. AKA, he does Trump's dirty work. That's what lawyers do. That's why they get paid the big bucks. Is they solve problems, they get you out of messes, and they do the dirty work. He is close, very close, Najra. So he led the executive branch, but for the city rather than the state. So, what position did he hold? Who's the executive of the city? The mayor. Yeah, he was mayor of New York, this guy. And he was loved. People loved him. You know what's interesting? He's a Republican. And he became the mayor of New York City, which is like the most democratic place on earth besides Staten Island. So that's very, very unique for a Republican to win. But he was beloved. First, he helped prosecute the mob. If you ever heard of John Gotti or other like New York City like mobsters, put them all in jail for tax evasion. Surprisingly enough, because when we think about our president now, that's probably what New York State is going to indict Trump on is tax evasion. So he knows tax evasion because he helped like throw mobsters in jail for tax evasion. That's what you convict people on. You can't get them for murder, but you can get them for tax evasion. And then he was also mayor during 9/11, and he helped, rally the country, not just the city. And he was very beloved because of that, and helped like New York recover after 9/11. And he was so popular at that point, he decided to run for president. This was 2000, maybe 2000. No, when Obama first ran. Yeah. And he didn't win, but he was actually running at the time that Joe Biden was running, and he would like spar with Joe Biden, who was running as a Democrat, and he would poke fun at Giuliani, and it's kind of interesting to see how their relationship has developed over time, because, like I said, now Giuliani is Trump's like personal lawyer, and he was trying to dig up dirt on Biden, which I'm sure he was happy to do because he never liked Biden because they were, campaigning against one another and fighting with one another. And he also led Trump's effort to kind of undermine and cast doubt on this election and like challenge the results of November 3rd in the court. So that's the role of Rudy Giuliani. Let's see what I see up here. I thought they were friends. Who did you think was friends, Agostino?
No, I said that's why they're not friends.
Oh, yeah. So there was like politics is interesting because there's always like, you're on this side, you're on that side, but then there's like personal animosities, like people like they genuinely bump heads and don't like one another. And so Giuliani, I don't think he likes Biden because they, attacked each other during the campaign. So in some respects, it's like, sure, I would love to be the president's personal lawyer, and I also get to dig up dirt on this person that was giving me a hard time when I was running for president as well. It's like win-win on Giuliani's behalf. And so again, Giuliani's now advising him possibly that he should pardon his three eldest children and also give a pardon to him. He's asking the president for a pardon himself. Now, that's a concept that we talked about a little bit, but let's like review that just briefly. What does it mean to pardon someone?
It's like someone going for a death row that you're like, it's not gonna go for a death row anymore. I pardon you. You're not gonna get killed. Your crimes is over. This, that. I think that's what it means.
Yes. So to release someone from a crime, right? To wipe their record clean. And so I put this
Yeah,
verse
it's been like
how
Jesus.
we talked about this how the president pardons a turkey every year as a joke, as a PR stunt, right? Instead of killing the turkey, he lets them go free. But he has the power to do that with people as well. So this comes straight from Section 2 of the Constitution. So here's the Articles of the Constitution. Article 2 concerns the powers of the executive branch. That's our president. And so it says, pardon powers of the president are based on Article 2 of the United States Constitution, Section 2, Clause 1, which provides shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. That's all it says in the Constitution. Okay, so um, why didn't Trump pardon himself when the Democrats in the House decided to uh, put him on trial in terms of impeachment? Why didn't he pardon himself when he was impeached by the Democrats? Is that something that he could do? He can't, right? Because it's explicit about that. It's the Constitution's explicit that he can't pardon himself for impeachment. But that's all it says. That's the only caveat. That's the only disclaimer that says like how you cannot use this power. It doesn't say anywhere that you can you can pardon someone before they're accused of a crime. It doesn't say that you can't pardon yourself, right? It only mentions impeachment. So most of the Constitution is very implicit, right? It's a short document and it doesn't outline every situation. So it'd be interesting to see like, is this something that the president tries to do? Um, there's even talk of the president trying to pardon himself. Is that constitutional? If he tries to do something like that, would this I'm sure the Supreme Court would have something to say about that. Like, how would they respond? So let's read a little bit more of this article. I'm going to read the second part to you, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. So it says President Trump has discussed with advisors whether to grant preemptive pardons to his children, to his son-in-law, and to his personal lawyer Rudolph Giuliani, and talked with Mr. Giuliani about pardoning him as recently as last week, according to two people briefed on the matter. Do you know what it means to do something preemptively? So here it says to grant preemptive pardons. What does it mean if you do something preemptively? Melanie, Najra, Evelyn, what do you think it means to do something preemptively? Pre equals what? Come on, people. Before. Sweet. Right? So this is saying um, he might pardon them before, in this case, they're actually charged with a crime. So, like, you could say, hear ye, I pardon you from any wrongdoing you might be accused of in the future. That sounds weird. Is that constitutional? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't say that you can't do it, but it also doesn't say that you can. So, again, our Constitution is implicit. It's vague. It's not very explicit about these things. And if somebody tries to do something, one interesting or wonderful thing about Trump is he's a stress test on the Constitution. He tests the Constitution in many different ways, and we learn a lot in terms of like what a president can get away with and can't get away with, based upon this little document that we have that lays out the rules. And so it'd be interesting to see what happens. Now, what do you think? Do you think it's constitutional for the president to pardon himself? Is it constitutional to pardon his family preemptively? Do you think that this was intended when we had our constitution? What do you think? Do you think Trump is going to try to pardon himself? Do you think that's something that he would do? I mean, again, maybe he has nothing to lose in trying, and he has a lot to lose by going to jail if he, gets indicted and convicted of a crime. So it's interesting to think about this. It's interesting to think about what will happen. It would be interesting to think about what the Supreme Court would do um, if this if they had to rule on this decision. Let me read a little bit more. Mr. Trump has told others that he is concerned that a Biden Justice Department might seek retribution against the president by targeting the oldest three of his children. Again, they don't like one another. They have a long history of not liking one another. Giuliani was trying to dig up dirt on Biden, and now Biden's going to be president. And would he? Would he launch an investigation against Giuliani, against the Trumps? He might. So, I mean, some of it seems legitimate. Some of it seems kind of crazy. I don't know. So he would target his three of his five children: Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, as well as Mrs. Trump's husband, Jared Kushner, a White House senior advisor. Donald Trump Jr. has been under investigation by Robert Mueller, the special counsel, for contacts he had with younger Trump, younger Mr. Trump, and had with Russians offering damaging information on Hillary Clinton in 2016 campaign, but he was never charged. Okay, so let me look back to the comments and see what I might have missed. It is very much a reality show. I mean, you see these great TV shows, these great political dramas, and it's like reality is is almost better or as ridiculous as what we see on TV. There's a really good show about the Trump campaign up to the election called The Circus, and I felt like that was a great name for exactly kind of our government. Our government, in many cases, it's very much a circus. We don't know what's going to happen next, and like our eyes are just glued. So I'm glad to hear that you find this stuff interesting because I do, and it's definitely a very unique time to be learning about U.S. government and politics. And so that's why it's important that we continue kind of grounding everything that we're learning in current events, and maybe you can help in doing so as well. So if you come across something interesting in the news, please share it with me, and perhaps we can include it in the headline of the day, and we can discuss that and share it with each other during our class time together. Okay? Any other questions about this topic? Anything relating to pardons? So it'd be interesting to see what pardons come out. And again, right now, Trump has pardoned the least number of people um, compared to any other president in American history. But that's not to say that he can shoot off a huge list of pardons via Twitter, like in his last day of office. He has the power to pardon people up until Joe Biden takes the oath of office on January 20th. So we will see what happens. And who knows? We'll see if Trump gets indicted on tax evasion by New York State after he's out of office, because they're not going to charge him while he's in office, and while he has the ability to pardon, they would charge him after that. So that's a possibility as well. Okay. So what are we going to do now? We talked about the headline of the day. Let's go over our project rubric and some things regarding our project, and then I'm going to give you some time to work on your projects today. So thank you to everybody who filled out your project planning survey. Those were due yesterday, and it's nice to get a heads up in terms of what contributions you're working on to help ensure that students have access to clean, safe, lead-free drinking water. So we've been looking at your goals and your planning, and I'll continue to look at that sheet. And perhaps you already did this, but if you didn't, not do so. Navigate over to Google Classroom. It looks like there's a little bit of lag. There we go. And so I just posted this today. So again, you have your project planning, and then you have your Action Civics project submission entry. I'm just going to read this really quickly. It says, upload and submit your individual action tactic contributions. So that's what you're making, right? Are you doing a letter, an infographic, videos, an email, a phone call, a social media campaign, right? That's the tactic that you're choosing for a class project to help improve students' access to clean, lead-free drinking water here. If you sent an email or create a social media campaign, which you shared online, make sure to take and share screenshots as well as the typed document. And those are great to see. Like, I want to see, again, not just what you wrote. It's not enough to write a letter if you don't send it. It's not enough to write an email if you don't send it and try to get a response. And hopefully do get a response. So part of this project is not just creating the tactic, but targeting either an elected official or rallying support for our project contribution. So that's why I asked you need to submit like some sort of screenshot or proof that you shared this, either online or with a politician through like email or something. So your project contributions will be shared at Civics Day and on our project website as well. See the attached Google Classroom rubric for grading criteria. So this is a lot. People are asking a lot in terms of how how am I going to grade your project? And so it's a very short, simple rubric. And you can see if you get 4 out of 4 points, it's 100. 3 out of 4, it's 85. 2 out of 4, 75, and so on. So click over here, and it's just 4 things that you should self-assess when you're working on your project, and that ultimately I'm going to use to assess your projects as well. So number 1, tactic. Did you utilize a tactic that connects to civic action to support our class's project, right? So you have to use a specific tactic that we went over. Number 2, target. Did you target a purposeful policymaker or rally the public to support our class's project? So in the planning sheet too, you had to decide, are you going to contact somebody who works for the Department of Environmental Protection? Are you contacting the mayor? Are you contacting your city council member? If you contact the city council member of New Jersey or whatever, probably not relevant unless you live there. So make sure that this person represents you and they have some sort of decision-making power over this issue. Or you're rallying support. So like if you're doing a social media campaign, again, this is something that you shared with the general public and you receive some sort of response from that. The third one is problem. Communicate the problem that our class's project is focused on. So like why is water safety, why is lead a big deal? How is this a problem? How are people affected by this? And so on. And then finally, 4, change. Did you effectively communicate one or more policy recommendations? So those were our class policy recommendations to support our class's project and or what individuals can do to help as well, right? So there's always an individual component, meaning, you can suggest that or advocate for people to test their own water or to lobby elected officials as well. So, like, what should individuals do and what should our elected representatives that have power do? So, that's our project rubric. And, Najra, if you had trouble finding that, oh, oops, I think I closed Google Classroom. It's the most recent entry. And if you're looking for the tactic toolkit that shows examples of all the different projects, it's here in the planning form. That's the best way to access that. Because you're helping people, you're getting ready to do good work on behalf of our school community. Okay,